research in the field. The College stamp of approval could, in effect, underwrite, certify and guarantee a scholar's reputation. Withholding such endorsement with tantamount to destroying a man's credibility. Officially, of course, the studies over which the École presided were supposed to be non-denominational, non-partisan, impartial, unbiased. The École presented to the world a facade of scientific objectivity, but could such objectivity in fact be expected on the part of a Dominican institution with vested Catholic interest to protect? My faith has nothing to fear from my scholarship, De Vaux once stated to Edmund Wilson. No doubt it didn't, but that was never, in fact, the real question. The real question was whether his scholarship and its reliability had anything to fear from his faith. As we ourselves became a euphate with the situation, we began to wonder if the correct questions were indeed being asked, if blame was indeed being correctly apportioned. Biblical archaeology review, for example, had focused on the Israeli government as a primary culprit. But if the Israeli government was guilty of anything, it was guilty only of an understandable sin of omission, by virtue of John Allegro's success in persuading the Jordanian government to nationalize the Rockefeller Museum, and political and military circumstance. The Six-Day War and its aftermath, Israel suddenly found itself as a fait accompli in possession of Arab East Jerusalem, where the Rockefeller Museum and the École Biblique was situated as spoils of war. The Dead Sea Scrolls thus became de facto Israeli, but Israel was fighting for its own survival at the time. In the turmoil of the moment, there were more urgent matters to deal with than the sorting out of scholarly disputes or the rectifying of academic inequities. Neither could Israel afford to isolate itself further on the international scene by antagonizing a body of prestigious researchers and thereby provoking a reaction from the intellectual community as well. Quite possibly as from the Vatican. In consequence, the Israeli government had taken the expedient course of doing nothing, of implicitly sanctioning the status quo. The international team had simply been asked to get on with their business. It was, of course, more accurate to assign responsibility to the international team themselves, as indeed a number of commentators had not hesitated to do. But were the motives ascribed to the team wholly accurate? Was it simply a matter of what the New York Times called the vanity of scholars, and Professor Neusner in bar arrogance and self-importance? These factors undoubtedly played a part, but the real question was one of the accountability to what ultimately were the international team accountable. In theory, they should have been accountable to their peers, to other scholars. But was that indeed the